What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Bruce Springsteen, and we're back with the special playlist curated by Michaela. Thank you once again. And the next tune I chose to react to is The Rising. So rising, obviously we're talking upward motion, which of course can be figurative and metaphorical, not necessarily literal. I suppose there could be some dual meaning in that regard, but yes, I typically think of either a person whose star or stock is rising, so to speak, whether professionally or interpersonally, they are rising in their accomplishments or significance. Of course, a movement can rise, and there can be an uprising, which is maybe a more specific type of movement, be it, resistance or outright rebellion. But yes, something coming up from a previous state of dormancy or even non-existence into some role or place of prominence. So that's what I'm thinking about going into it. It is admittedly a two-word phrase, so there's not a lot to contextualize the phrase in the title. Let's see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is Bruce Springsteen. The song is The Rising, and it's one of the tunes included in a special personal selected playlist curated by Michaela, which is a prelude to our larger Bruce journey.
Can't see nothing in front of me. Can't see nothing coming up behind. Make my way through the darkness. I can't feel nothing but this chain that binds me. Lost track of how far I've gone. How far I've gone, how high I've climbed. On the backs of 60-pound stone. On the shoulder, half-mile line. Come on up for the rising. Come on up and lay your heads in mine. Come on up for the rising. Come on up for the rising tonight. Well, the house is moaning. Bells are ringing, fill the air. Where the cross of my calling. On wheels of fire, I can roll down here. Come on up for the rising. Come on up and lay your hands in mine. Come on up for the rising. Come on up for the rising tonight. In the garden of 1,000 sighs, there's holy pictures of our children dancing in a sky filled with light. May I feel your arms around me. May I feel your blood mixed with mine. The dream of life comes to me like a catfish dancing on the end of my line. Sky blackness and sorrow, dream of life. Sky of love, sky of tears, sky of glory.
like that one both sonically and lyrically to the degree I caught it. Sonically, it sounds like a rock and roll tune with like a heavy gospel flavor, which seems to tie into the lyrics a little bit if I'm hearing them correctly, or at least the bits that I caught correctly, and even that's no guarantee. But yeah, sonically, it's got a rock vibe, it's got guitar, it's got drums, and it moves, it's got energy like a rock song. But there's also this, backing organ, like keyboard, which feels very kind of like church organ. There's this kind of uplifting feeling, like this, revivalist kind of feeling to it. And even some of his vocals sound sort of like, gospel choir singing. So, yeah, it feels kind of like spiritual rock, if that makes sense. And lyrically, what I did catch, it seems like, number one, there's the line about, the rising up of his hands, I think, which, again, that suggests this kind of like, really engrossed revivalist type of sentiment. Not in like a theological sense. I mean that in the sense of like, feeling invigorated, where you're not just like, sitting and listening and, it's all very sort of calm and like cautious. It's more like, like you feel jubilant, you feel joyful, and, you're up in your seat, hands in the air. It felt kind of like that. And then there were lines about like, the sky and what it looked like, and I think there were one or two lines in that sequence of phrases which sounded like there was sort of a spiritual angle to it. So, but then there was also like lines about like, was it like 1,000 pictures of our kids and the mixing of our bloods and feeling it all around you, and it seemed like it could be about like family and like the articulation of, generations of belief and faith. And I think there was this idea of like rising because he believes in it or something like that. So yeah, it felt like a spiritual tune. Now maybe I'm misreading all of that, and if I am, I do apologize. And in fact, I appreciated the corrective on the last Bruce reaction I did, which again, this will be a feature as I go through tunes. I just don't necessarily like coloring my initial hearing of a song by getting a detailed description of what the lyrics are, or even, what the song's about. And I get it, that can be helpful and it can, be enlightening, but I still can do that. I can still listen to it a second and third and fourth and fifth and more times, and then have a better sense of what it's originally about, or what it is specifically about. But yeah, I just enjoy hearing tunes on their own terms and just trying to process what I hear and, get a sense of it. And then, in the days of doing these YouTube reactions, the information does come to me very quickly. So yeah, again, maybe I'm misreading a lot of that, but it did seem like this spiritual, joyful, and maybe like, feeling that expressed in your family life and in your like psycho-emotional life. So yeah, let me know how close or indeed how far away I am from the actual essence of the themes here. But yeah, I enjoy his vocals and those like, non-lyrical melodic vocals that he was doing. I enjoyed the kind of rhythm of that. It's, it's simple and it's kind of sing-songy, but it kind of fit the like warm, like happy vibe of what I took from the song on a first listen. So once again, thank you to Michaela. Thank you to the folks who've been part of this deep dive already. And again, we're really just, touching the very tip of the iceberg at this point. So we'll be going for quite a while. Do let me know what you think of this one. I will see you next time. Peace.